two ninjas spoiling movies. Yeah. And Brandon Collins, that's me. It's just a brand for your movie needs. Medium popcorn. Woo! Haven't seen it, well, we're gonna spoil it. Who's the master? Well, that's your warning. And if you get pissed, it's all your fault. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
What is up, little business so dry tomatoes? It's your boy Eddie Collins.
Guys, it's Justin Brown.
Yeah, that's right. Mr. Brown's in town, and he's with me in Medium Popcorn, and we're talking about movie news and trailer reactions. Shoobity doobity. But before we get to like some recent news that's popped up, and folks, we're going back a few weeks. So if you're like, hey, that's old news, it's like, hey, but Justin and I didn't give an opportunity to share our thoughts. We did get a Facebook comment, and folks, if you join the Medium Popcorn podcast group on Facebook, you get to post some questions and comments there. But you really should go on patreon.com/Medium Popcorn. That's where the real juice is at. But Philip Arrington said, I was listening to a podcast that was reviewing the X-Men 97 series, and one of the reviewers mentioned how an episode didn't hit him, but he rewatched the episode with the death of a character and it affected him on the second watch. That got me to thinking, has there ever been a movie, TV, song that had a negative, you had a negative opinion of, but you re-experienced it later and your opinion changed? It might make for a fun discussion on the show. Sorry for the rambling. So has there ever been a TV, movie, or song that you had a negative opinion of, but then you re-experienced it later and your opinion changed?
That's a tough one because I feel like for me, a lot of times it's those movies that like I maybe haven't watched since I was a kid and like, oh, this movie sucked. And then you watch it as an adult and you have like different context to it. You know? Like for instance, like the franchise that I was like, oh, this is the worst thing in the world. I mean, this is kind of not the question, but like Good Burger 2, right? I went in there because of the first one that, you know, as we all know, if you listen to this podcast, I loathe. And then the second one, I'm just like, this fucking works. Like I found the second one, like it's far more appealing than I found the first. Like, is it because I aged into it? Or was it just the fact is like they just made a much better product? But that kind of doesn't answer this. That's not exactly to this question. Fuck, that's a real hard one though, for me at least.
Yeah. Interesting. Lluvia said in the chat for me it was forgetting Sarah Marshall. Yeah, maybe for me it might be, what's that Pixar movie? I actually kind of liked Luca after like I thought about it for a second. Maybe I'm trying to think of what. Oh, you know what it is? It was actually what movie was it that just it came out a few years, like it was one of the early Pixar. Ratatouille is a movie where I was actually kind of like, eh. Like I was kind of like, like, you know what I mean? It was after The Incredibles, Cars. Even I was like, oh, I kind of like this, even though it was really long. Ratatouille, for some reason, I was just kind of like, I don't know if it's because of rat in the kitchen or something. I just like wasn't into it. And also Patton Oswalt's voice was kind of annoying to me as Remy.
Yeah.
And then I rewatched it like, you know, a few years later. And I was like, I just must have been in a bad mood. It must have been like when Justin watched Paddington 2. I just must have been not into, I wasn't set up for success to watch this. And I actually really enjoyed Ratatouille.
My review of Paddington 2.
But I actually really enjoy Ratatouille now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's tough because I feel like most of the time it's like the other way. Is just like I watch them like, oh yeah, that was fun, and then you watch again, and it's just like, what the fuck was I thinking? This is trash. But it's not a lot of times I watch something I'm just like, I don't like this. Also, I watch it again, I'm just like, you know what? Maybe I was wrong. But like, I know that I've had that opinion on this podcast before. I just can't recall the actual film that it was. But I know it's definitely happened. And like somebody's gonna hit us up and be like, Justin, I remember this movie. What are you talking about?
All good,
like,
baby.
I know it's definitely happened.
All good, baby. If y'all have future questions, feel free to post them in our Facebook group. Join our Patreon at patreon.com/mediapopcorn. You get to post in our Discord as well as comments on the page, and we'll answer those questions on the podcast when we can. Or you can email us at mediumpod@gmail.com. This it's always good to have like little discussion questions for us to do a little icebreaker. Get the beaks wet.
You know what? You know what it could be for me, Brandon? It could be anything that was a Ray J song. Because I was never a fan of Ray J.
I'm still not a fan of Rage. Like I
Yeah, I
hate
mean,
to wait a minute.
neither am I. But at the same time, I feel like I was such a Ray J hater that I couldn't even give him credit for like a song like Sexy Can I or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
Like it's not the best song, but at the same time, it was a hit. It was a hit.
okay.
You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Yeah.
So I think maybe like revisiting some people's discography, especially in music, and you have to take the hater out of you. That's when you're just like, you know what the guys like when I was in college, when Chris Brown first hit the scene, I was kind of just like, everybody's on this guy's nuts. But then it took me about like maybe like 3 months, and he was getting that hard push, and I was just like, oh, that nigga's good, but he's good. He's real good. And then I was in, and they had to go ahead and do the shit he did.
Yeah. I mean, it's he's still out here working. You're getting
Yeah.
suspended in midair during a concert and shit, but he's still out here working.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, we're talking musicians real quick, and then we do have to get to movie news. I guess if I'm being honest, I should quit while I'm ahead before I say this, but it's Prince when he did this performance with the booty cheeks out. And that like completely like made me be like, Prince is scary. I don't want this. And I just like refused to listen to Prince for a while. And then I got reintroduced to Purple Rain. And I was like, I was fucking crazy for ignoring this dude for like several years because I was just scared of his booty cheeks. But like, I remember like viscerally, like in 1991 or some shit, he had the leopard print outfit and he moved around and the booty cheeks were out. I was like, ah.
So what you're saying is, Brandon, that at the ripe age of like so it's 91, you had to only be about like 5 to 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And Prince's ass was that visceral to you that you completely noped out of Prince fandom.
It's kind of like I imagine like when people saw the Janet Jackson Super Bowl when her titty got grabbed out, they were just like, I wasn't expecting a titty. Like, you know what I
No,
mean?
no, no, no. People were very excited over that.
Well, I was excited, of course, but like it's
No, but it's just corporations didn't like it.
okay.
That was a corporate hit job.
Listen. We're off on a tangent now. Like
Just saying.
Philip, we appreciate the question, folks. Keep the questions coming. Maybe we'll do a Q&A at some point or something like that, or an AMA episode. But we got to talk about some movie news, and we have a lot to get to. First up is 28 years later has officially set Cillian Murphy to return to the franchise. He will be joining director Danny Boyle and writer Alex Garland in their new upcoming beginning of a new collection of movies. It's gonna be a new trilogy. Also starring Jodie Comer, Aaron Taylor Johnson, and Ray Fiennes. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting because that's like his breakout movie.
Yeah,
and for him to be returning to it, I wonder it'd be kind of dope if he's just like the opening kill or some shit. Like it's just you bring back this Oscar winner now who's like blown up since then, and you kill him off immediately. That'd be ballsy as hell. I would love it.
It would be,
and I can see them doing it.
But also, I also think this is like, what are they going to give us 28 years later? It's like, how's he still alive?
Yeah, because they left his because I forgot which cut was the theatrical cut of 28 Days Later. Because there's one where he dies, and there's another where he lives. And I can't remember which one was the director's cut. I think he lives in the original.
Yeah,
I think he lives.
I mean, and that's the thing, is just like 28 days later, that's a really bad day.
Oh, yeah.
Like he's going through it.
Yep.
So it's like, how he's still around.
I mean, we'll have to see what the world's like. And maybe he's like, he's this ultimate survivor dude that knows exactly what to do when the zombie apocalypse restarts or something like that. because I imagine we're not still fighting zombies 28 years later. But if it's around a new outbreak, then it's like he's the kind of person you kind of want their knowledge about, like, hey, how'd you navigate this when it first started? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's going to be like a dystopian kind of world, at that point.
yeah, I'm curious to see what happens. I'm just curious to see how they present it.
Yeah.
Real quick, in some disappointing news, friend of the show, Shay Serrano's show Primo, that was on Amazon's freebie, has been canceled. The Michael Schur produced comedy was based on Shay Serrano's life, and unfortunately, it's going to try to find a new home. But this news came out a few weeks ago, and the fact that there hasn't been any new traction, I'm worried that we're not going to see another season of this. And it's an incredibly sweet show, really funny and charming. It's on Freevee still, I think. I don't think they're doing like the content white thing. So if you haven't gotten a chance to see it, folks, definitely check out Primo. But yeah, it's just disappointing to see more shows focusing on people of color getting canceled.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, but the
great.
good thing is, they are shopping it to other networks or platforms.
Yeah.
So, there is a possibility it could get picked up. So.
It's possible, but man, if Warrior didn't get picked up after debuting, popping up on Netflix and stuff, I'm like, there ain't no hope for none of us.
Yeah, I know.
Anyone that has a fan of a niche thing, we ain't gonna get it. We ain't gonna get no more of it. They don't love us. They don't love us.
All the love to Shay, though.
Yes,
had a great episode with him.
Yeah. Let's see. Morgan Spurlock of Super Size Me fame died at the age of 53. Apparently, he had complications of cancer. His family confirmed that he had some complications with I don't want to call them complications. He had some issues with he had health problems, but then also his career kind of took a step backwards. What was that? Did you hear that?
No, I didn't hear a thing.
Oh, the website with the article, and Morgan Spurlock started playing some drumming, and it blew up my ears. Yeah, Lluvia heard it. Oh, she said, "What was it?" Oh my God, I must have looked like I was having.
Yeah,
visually, I must have looked like I was having a stroke. I look like Wendy Williams when she had her breakdown. Too soon.
But she's dressed like the Statue of Liberty.
Oh, Jesus Christ, that was such a bad moment. I feel so bad for her. But yeah, he got caught up in like some Me Too allegations and stuff like that, which completely torpedoed Super Size Me 2, which I think he was going to talk about the chicken industry and stuff. I never actually watched it, but Super Size Me, I remember I saw that documentary, I think 3 times in the theater, because one, I thought it was incredibly entertaining. It was cool that he kind of did it on his own. And I used to eat Super Size Me meals all the time, like a little fat fuck. And that movie, like, they took it off the menu because of that shit.
Yeah, he had to stop it. They had to call quits.
Super Size Me. It was like he couldn't get his dick hard. He had diabetes. Oh, like he got the sugars.
Yeah.
But
his arteries was just like, nope.
Imagine if it's the McDonald's that gave him cancer.
I mean,
he only ate it for 30 days, supposedly, but
yeah, but at the same time, with all the fucking, the hormones and shit like that they pump in the food, it's very possible. It's possible. I mean, our food is definitely giving us cancer, but that's a whole different conversation.
Yes, that's true. I will say, like, he had this series called 30 Days where he did like different experiences, like, and one was called Broke, or like, like 30, like he had like $100 and he had to make it work, and like he lived like in Detroit or something like that for 30 days. And I actually used to show that to high school kids about budgeting.
Yeah.
Because, like, there's no financial literacy in schools. Yep. So I was like, what's an entertaining way for me to show y'all something like, hey, here's the dude that did Super Size Me, which a lot of people knew that documentary. And I was able to use that as a way to be like, hey, here's how someone navigated being crazy poor, like, for at least 30 days.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but at the same time, if you're going to live in any city, it shouldn't be Detroit. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
hey, Detroit's coming back, baby.
No. I'm saying you got to stretch that $100 in a more expensive city, because I think that would really show, like, hey, this is how these frugal means could, give you, how you can make frugal, how you can stretch $1, in a place that's far more expensive. Not it wasn't a hit on Detroit. That was more the fact that Detroit, especially because of the things that were going on in Detroit at the time, wasn't that much of an expensive city. It'd been more impressive to do it in New York or Los Angeles.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's like more middle of the road, and I think it was important to because the thing that's so easy for other people on the outside looking in to talk about, like, people that are in poverty and stuff like that, is like, well, why don't you move to, like, or like even like people that are like live in conservative places that maybe are like, I'm part of like a community, like, representation that is suppressed here, and people be like, well, move the fuck out. It's like, I can't afford to, or like,
Yeah.
I can't go anywhere else right now.
Well, I mean, Brandon, some of them do try to move out of there, and then they have, but the only way they can is by hitchhiking, and then they hitchhike and get in the wrong van, and then they end up in a ditch. You know what I'm saying? It's like milk carton.
Do they even still do the milk carton photos anymore?
I don't think so, though, because the internet kind
So
of changed.
how do people know where the missing children are or who they are?
Sometimes they put them in music videos.
What would happen if someone like a Good Samaritan genuinely it's just like ask Google or ChatGPT who are the missing children right now? Like, just because they're trying to find them, but like this is gonna be like, nigga, what are you trying to do? That's so funny.
It's just like I'm sending over the authorities. No, wait, I didn't mean
it. Definitely, man. I literally I'm doing research for a slasher film I'm doing, and I asked ChatGPT what's the most common kind of car driven by serial killers. Of course, it's that white van, but I was like, oh shit, I definitely put a list now.
Yep, they watch it.
Yeah, they're listening to this conversation right now.
Hey, ChatGPT, tell me the most common car. Hey, this is for a film that I'm writing. I
already asked ChatGPT how to rob a bank, so they already like Brandon's on some fuck shit. So speaking of fuck shit, well, this isn't too crazy, but Hercules, the Disney live action remake, is rumored to be courting Dua Lipa to play Meg. Supposedly, it's still going to be directed by Guy Ritchie, who also did Aladdin, the live action Aladdin, and produced by the Russo brothers, which is wild. That means they're going to get a crazy budget though, because the Russo brothers be spending hundreds of millions of dollars now. Rumors have previously claimed that Taron Egerton and Ariana Grande were up for roles in Hercules and Meg, but they're still doing some casting. And an insider said that pop megastar turned actress Dua Lipa might be a contender to play Meg. Now, we talked about Meg, Dua Lipa during our Argyle review, and she kind of was the best thing about the movie. And she's only in the thing for fucking 2 minutes. Yeah. But she barely acted though. She's like fucking hot.
Yep.
And for me, I think Meg is hot. Meg is smoking in Hercules.
Fair.
And she had, I forgot who did was it Bebe Newhart who did her voice?
No idea.
Yeah, but I don't know, man.
Wasn't at the top of my list.
It wasn't?
No.
You didn't like the black chorus? It was like, Hercules a hero.
Hercules.
Oh, actually, the actress is Susan Egan. That's who did the voice of Meg. Oh, okay. Whatever. But yeah, I mean, I think that'd be a good way to get butts in seats. And it's probably a musical, so she's gonna be singing and stuff.
Yeah,
kind of works out.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see.
I just wish they stopped with the Disney live action though. It's just
I know, and there's so much more coming.
Oh God, you know what's gonna be on some bullshit? If they literally do like the Fox version of Robin Hood, like live action, you're gonna be like, okay, now we've gone like cuckoo bananas world, like. Like that's fucking nuts.
Animatronic fox running around with a goddamn fucking hat, a green hat on. Like, what the fuck's happening here?
I actually would love though if they did like a Fantastic Mr. Fox stop motion, but with the Robin Hood Fox, and Wes Anderson did it. That could be interesting. Like as a spiritual sequel, that could be interesting.
That would be wild.
It would be wild. But yeah. Because there was some weird stuff that they did in that Fox Robin Hood. You know what, Lluvia? In our list, add some Disney classics.
Okay.
We've never done those. We've never really done like Disney classics.
Yeah, and throw on there Lady and the Tramp. I always used to love me some Lady and the Tramp.
Doesn't it have the stereotypical cats, the racist cats?
Yeah.
I never liked Lady and the Tramp because I was like the meatball, the spaghetti thing when they like eat to get to the kiss. Oh, that's nasty. Y'all don't notice that you're eating the same noodle? Come on, man.
Hey, baby, that's love.
That's not love. That's just fucking.
What? No, they watch them. That man, give them a little show, and they ain't paying attention, and then And next thing you know, they kissing. Next thing you know how it goes, friend.
All right. Well, speaking again of fucked, the Blair Witch Project original actors have called out reprehensible behavior after missing out on profits for decades from the studio, and basically it sounds like they didn't really have representation at the time, and essentially signed away any rights they might have had to residuals and additional monies from the success of the Blair Witch Project because it was so low budget. No one expected a movie that cost what $30,000 to make millions of dollars.
Yeah,
Like
$35,000 and it topped over 100 million,
that is fucking
and they got
crazy.
nothing. They got really pretty much nothing
And it's
from
just them. It's just three people in the woods.
Yeah, and they improvised the entire film.
Yes.
They literally got no real acting work or any credit for the whole entire thing. But then also,
didn't they have to like go into? They didn't have to go into hiding, but didn't they have to like pretend like they had disappeared for a while
they laid low
for the marketing,
right, to try to keep the ruse that this is a real thing that happened, which also was detrimental to any of their careers and things like that. They really. So I guess it comes down to is like, did they fuck themselves over, or did the studio really fuck them over?
I mean, I think it's just like you're an actor like trying to get some work. You do this random movie. It's like the people that did Friday, the first Friday. Think about that, right? Like Chris Tucker. The reason why Chris Tucker didn't come back is like they pay me booty on the first movie. It's a huge hit. Now pay me, and they're like, nah. But it's like, okay, well, I gave you all a pass with the first movie, right? Yeah. So make it right, and it's just it sucks because if you don't have a lawyer, you don't have a rep to kind of walk you through how that stuff should work, and especially, man, if it was non-union, they definitely got fucked.
Yeah, done.
And it probably was.
Yeah, well, no, they made it themselves.
Yeah, so it's like that just sucks. There is no protections for them.
So it's funny. I was just listening to Bill Burr's podcast, Monday Morning Podcast, and he was talking about the fact is like, hey, like if you don't know how the game is played, like you will get fucked. Like when you're a pilot, if your name isn't on that created by, you're not gonna get credit for it. So then you're gonna lose a whole ton of shit on the back end. So it's like you need to know, but until you know these things, like and you're ignorant to it, and then it's just like you just learned a hard lesson.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and that's the game, and they're also hoping and they're willing to just bet that you are ignorant to these aspects of it. Unfortunately for them, because of the internet, because of like people are far more savvy than they ever have been. You have people like oh my God, Sydney Sweeney, who's out here killing shit now because she knows the game.
There's an article. This is completely off topic. I'm gonna keep it like very concise. That she apparently like was #1 in high school grappling with like her male counterparts. She's like, I never lost a match, and like all these male comics on Facebook are like, yeah, I would lose to you too. Like, you gonna grapple me, Sydney Sweetie? Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that loss.
A post on MTV.
I knew that she had huge assets, so to speak, with Tati. I didn't even watch before it. She's like, yeah, there's this one blonde chick. She's like Tits McGee. Like, and Tati never talks like that. She's like, yeah, just like Jesus. But speaking of getting fucked in this business, Fable, a studio behind the viral AI generated South Park clips, I haven't seen these, has announced that they're creating a streaming platform that will allow users to create their own content. And they plan to get to a point where you'll be able to create very original and expressive content, which is terrifying.
Yeah. Honestly, I wouldn't even want to do that.
Like do like the building of your own show and stuff like that?
No. Well, actually, like if you're creative and you want to create your own content, I could see how that would be appealing. But for the average person, how is that something like, or is this being sold to creative people? Is like, hey, look, you can get your show made by using AI, and whatnot, and then we're gonna own it. So is this just another way to screw over creatives, or is this things like, hey, anybody could do this?
Yeah.
And they think that people are just going to create their own shows and watch it.
That's what I'm worried about most, is that people are it's gonna dilute the art of filmmaking and TV making, because
100%.
people are gonna be like, oh, I can do this shit at home. Like it's easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Yeah.
And they don't realize it's difficult, lemon difficult. It's really fucking hard. And that's not an original line, folks. I stole that from In the Loop. So yeah, before you like tweet at me like, Brandon, you're so funny and it's original. I'm like, I stole it. I'm sorry, yo.
Difficult, lemon difficult.
It's one of my favorite lines because it's so genuine the way the guy said it. Like, you just like, it's difficult, man. This shit's hard. Speaking of things that are hard, it's hard to take back we really racist shit you may have said in the past.
Mm-hmm.
As Michael Richards is finding out as he's trying to look for a comeback and releasing a upcoming memoir called Entrances and Exits. Uh, he's like, my anger was all over the place and it came through hard and fast. Anger is quite a force, but it happened. Rather than run from it, I dove into the deep end and tried to learn from it. It hasn't been easy. He said, I'm not racist. I have nothing against black people. The man who told me I wasn't funny had just said what I've been saying to myself for a while. I felt put down. I wanted to put him down. That's not a good choice of words. That last sentence is not great.
But you know what? At the same time, that's what people do when they feel hurt. They, like they get hurt and then they go on the attack. You know what I'm saying? So in a way, he was being real, with sharing like, hey, this is how I felt and this is how that came out. He's like, maybe I didn't mean to be really racist in that moment, but like, yeah, I realized I was. But at the same time, it doesn't give him a pass. But
No,
like, I think a lot of people can actually sympathize with the fact is like, yeah, sometimes you say shit that you don't mean because you're a crazy person at that time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I just never. Yeah, I mean, that turned me off of watching like Seinfeld reruns. Really, like I'm not trying to like, bat in his pockets more than they already are from Seinfeld stuff. He's gonna be okay.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
You know what the thing is? It's like, it's not a thing where it's not just the fact it's like, oh, he was out there spouting the N-word and and saying racist things. It's like he was angry, and when you're angry and you're spouting that kind of stuff, you mean it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like that's the thing where black people are just like, nah, man, I can't with you anymore.
Yep. But black people are just gonna be out here continuing to be resilient and thriving and surviving. Just like Mr. Jeffrey Wright, the recent Oscar nominee, has been tapped to star in The Last of Us season 2 as Isaac, which is a role he'll be reprising from the video game that he voiced, the video game character he voiced. So I'm glad to just see this brother out here working, doing more and more stuff. He's already doing a movie with Denzel and Spike Lee. I'm just glad that he's not part of that unfortunate Oscar curse that sometimes happens, especially with nominees of color, where they get this burn and then out of nowhere the phone starts ringing. It's like, what the fuck? But
it's Mr. Wright had your chance.
Mr. Wright been out here working. So, and I'm hoping after he's done with Last of Us 2 and the Denzel movie, he's gonna be, well, now I gotta go to Gotham because the Batman 2 is finally fucking filming. Please. Yeah. Jesus Christ, where's this movie?
Batman 2 and 3.
No, James Gunn recently debunked that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he debunked it. Yeah. Okay. Which makes sense but it just sucks that it's taken so long to get the second one. It's like, come on, guys. Like, I mean, we may as well talk about it now. Speaking of taking so long to get to the thing, fucking Blade has not only lost the writer, they recently lost the director. Like, what is going on?
Yeah, and then Mahershala Ali,
his lawyer, right?
Said that the director, he was difficult to work with, and was like, well, what have y'all really been working on?
Well, if they are doing another major rewrite, I can see the studio kind of talking to the director and saying, what was the director's name again? Jan Damages? Jan Demange. Yeah, who did and he done some episodes of like he does some TV Lovecraft Country. Yeah. And I can see if they're doing a major rewrite, they have a honest conversation, say, hey, this is a different vision than what you signed up for and what you're committed to. So maybe it's best for us to go in different directions. Honestly, this doesn't look good for anybody because in knowing things I know about Mahershala Ali, is that he's very picky with the projects he does, right? And then for them, it's been 5 years since they announced that he was going to be Blade.
Yeah.
So either they're being so precious with this property to the point where they're second guessing everything, or Mahershala might be it's not good for anybody that right now at this point.
But at the same time, we do have to, bring into the fact is that the pandemic did happen in between this.
Yes, for sure.
So like
sure.
they announced
and the writer's strike
yeah.
after strike, yes.
Yeah, so like it was announced in 2019, and obviously you run into the pandemic and then the writer's strike, kind of back to back. So like, part of it, they had 2 lost years within that. So, give a little bit of grace, but at the same time, this is a long process and this is a mess.
If it doesn't start filming if this doesn't start filming by the end of this year, the movie's not happening, or at the very least, it's not having Mahershala in the role.
Yeah.
There's no way because it's not good PR for him to keep hanging out. He's just getting older.
Brandon, you stole the words right out of my mouth. I was literally, it's like, if it doesn't film by the end of this year, I think the Mahershala should just completely walk away from it, and they need to find a younger black actor.
There's memes online right now where it's like they're showing him from fucking True Detective season 3 when he's like 60 years old and gray and shit. They're like, that's gonna be him by the time we get to filming Blade.
Yeah,
like it's getting ridiculous. And I get it. Like Blade means a lot to a lot of people, especially in cinematic form. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like if you keep delaying it, the expectations for the movie are gonna be so fucking high. And if you don't deliver, then it's gonna be like, y'all went through all that for this.
Yeah, I honestly, they should just they need to recast that role.
Oh, you think they should just like rip out the Band-Aid and recast?
Yeah, they should recast Blade, mainly because I wasn't.
Evan Nick gave such an awesome moment at Comic-Con, man, when he came out and had the hat.
Yeah, but I mean, Brandon, to be totally honest, I wasn't 100% with it because Wesley killed that, but Wesley was a martial artist. Wesley matched the body type. Wesley gave us everything that Blade was, to the point where they're just like, we're just gonna model Blade off of Wesley at this point, of what Wesley did. Mahershala Ali is kind of counter to that. He's tall, he's lengthy, he doesn't have the martial arts abilities of Wesley Snipes. So like we're either going to go off of CGI or stunt, which it's the movie business. This is what they do. But like what Wesley did, he kind of set the groundwork for what that character should be. And for me, Mahershala, he's a fantastic actor. Don't not take anything away from him, but
two-time Oscar winner.
Yeah, but at the same time, he doesn't kind of fit the mold of what I look at that character and it's like, that's Blade.
Okay. I differ from you. I think he could pull it off and give us something different because you don't want it to be too similar to Wesley, especially if the rumors are true that Wesley's going to be popping up in Deadpool and Wolverine. You don't want to like see someone that's just trying to do a replica of that. I think that's why they had such a hard time. Like, do you recast T'Challa? Because you don't want someone that's just doing a Chadwick impression, right? You want them to bring their own flavor to the character. So we'll see. But I think that we're going to get an announcement probably in a few months that Mahershala's not in the role anymore. And I know some people have been like, oh, well, the rumor, like there was word that Jordan Peele had a meeting with Marvel, but an insider that I very much trust in the industry said that meeting happened months ago and nothing came of it. So I think people are just like now hearing about the meeting and thinking, oh, maybe he'll direct Blade. It's possible, but I wouldn't bet the house on it.
But also at the same time, I also heard that it wasn't necessarily for Blade; it was for a Marvel project.
Yes,
yeah.
So it could be X-Men, probably.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the rumor. They're rumoring that now.
But speaking of Mahershala, he has officially joined Scarlett Johansson in Universal's new Jurassic World feature, which has been written by the original screenwriter of Jurassic Park, David Cope. The plot details are under wraps, but it has a release date of July 2nd, 2025, which is a little over a year from now. It's being directed by Garrett Edwards, who recently did The Creator. So visually, it's going to look amazing. Story-wise, hoping for the best. I love me some Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park's my favorite movie of all time. I'm fingers crossed that it's going to be decent. But Mahershala, like I said, is notoriously picky about his projects. So for him to do, I mean, it could just be like they're like, hey, we'll pay you a good amount of money.
Yeah, we got the bag, homie.
Yeah. Hey, we know Disney's been tickling your balls a little bit over there, but it's been since 2019, baby. Come and get the good stuff over at Universal.
It's like,
So we'll see what happens there. But piggybacking, popping back over to Marvel news, Giancarlo Esposito will officially make his MCU debut in Captain America: Brave New World, and there's also been some set photos of him in character. The antagonist that he's playing is unknown, but he says he's an antagonist, agent of chaos, a serious thorn in Sam Wilson's side, and that his character will also be getting a TV show.
So, well, I don't necessarily think that they mean that he's going to be getting his own TV show,
but he'll be appearing probably, right?
Yeah, he'll be appearing or as a villain in a TV show. So there has been some rumors that he's playing Bushman, which is a character I'm not too familiar with. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, that's not too far out.
Yeah, I know some people were saying, "Oh, he looked like he could be playing Whistler," but I'm like, "But why would that be an antagonist towards Sam Wilson?" Like, we have to think about how this stuff connects to Sam Wilson.
Yeah.
But I do, and this is the unfortunate thing about time and how long it takes for these projects to get up and running. I just think he's too old to have played Professor X the way he wanted to. There's just you don't get longevity out of him in that role because of his age, unfortunately. And as much as you try to de-age people and stuff, it's just not there. So, and X-Men just got a writer. They don't even have a director. They just got Michael Leslie, who's done the Hunger Games movie, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, to sign on to do the script. So good luck to you, Michael, because after the success of X-Men 97, you have a tall order, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like it's I'm glad Mr. Esposito is in the MCU because he's definitely been, pining for that for a long time. However, I think we need to lower our expectations about how significant he's going to be in the MCU going forward.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be as prominent as like what he's doing in The Mandalorian or The Boys. You know what I mean?
But at the same time, is it like also a thing where he's kind of like the industry's bad man?
Yeah. He's a classic villain. He plays a great villain.
Yeah, he does. I mean,
if he and Idris get together as villains in a movie, it's going to be a problem for the protagonist. Let me tell you.
I mean, that's true. It's
going to be a problem. That's the issue with like Idris trying to play a protagonist and playing the good guy. Kind of doesn't work.
Yeah.
He's a great villain. He's just got the voice and he's got the presence. Just make him a villain.
Yeah.
All the time.
I mean, he played a fucking tiger and he was fucking phenomenal.
One of the best voice performances in the past 20 years. Easily.
Yeah.
It's like him, Jeremy Irons,
as Scar.
Fucking James Earl Jones, of course.
Yeah.
Robin Williams in Aladdin. He's in the top 10. He's up there because of his portrayal of Shere Khan. Like he's fantastic. But
I'll even say Tom Hanks, man.
Woody. Yeah.
He was great as Woody.
He made me cry, and he was the only reason. He's the reason why Toy Story 4 works.
Yeah,
because you had Woody kind of like, I finished my job. Like, what do I do now? Like, he made like that nigga existential. Like he was like,
he's like, I'm retired.
I was like, is Woody about to take his whole life? Like, what's happening here?
Niggas making soup, man.
To put a wrap on the Marvel stuff. So Marvel is officially doing a Vision series that's set for 2026 with Paul Bettany and Star Trek Picard EP Terry Matlis as a showrunner. I honestly shrug my shoulders when I see a White Vision show. I'm like, maybe you could do some cool stuff with that, but it shouldn't be more than 4 episodes, I imagine.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's great in the role. Paul Bettany's great as Vision, but I just never really had an emotional investment in someone who's mostly a robot, an AI creation. You know what I mean? It's not, and he's also incredibly powerful too. So when you put Vision in there, it's kind of hard to
who gonna stop?
It's hard to give him an antagonist. It's like, who's gonna fight himself?
Yeah, I mean technically, He
Yeah.
did. He did do
Yeah.
that.
It's true. Yeah. Um, I guess this is kind of Marvel related, but Tom Hardy says that Spider-Man has gone to Feige's camp, but we have one at Sony, which is terrifying. Even though they're preparing to release later this year his final solo Venom movie, The Last Dance, Tom Hardy said recently people were going to Marvel Universe under Kevin Feige's management is doing so well. Spider-Man's gone to Feige's camp at Marvel. We have one at Sony. To me and Kelly is so important. Kelly is the director. It's so important to pour everything that we can to build on that opportunity. So by the third one now, Kelly's directing, she's writing. I'm attached to it at the hip and shoulder. Like whatever you need, we'll figure it out. I wonder if that was like misguided because there was initially the plan to have Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker possibly be the Peter Parker that was going to be looped in on Madam Web until they changed the story.
Yeah.
So I wonder if he's just confused or if they are like, imagine if Andrew Garfield pops him that shit for a second. I'll be so mad.
Yeah.
But I can see it happening.
Yeah. Listen, they're grabbing at straws over there.
It's just, Sony, what are you doing? What are you doing? Just stop it. Just please make this be the last dance. Please. Like I don't.
Honestly, I think this is definitely going to be the last one of this series. As far as where are they going to continue to go with it, I think it may continue without Tom Hardy, and the symbiote is going to be continue.
So I was listening to John Campia podcast, and they posited that there's a world where this is the last Venom, but that Tom Hardy somehow becomes Spider-Man.
I would be so upset with that.
That'd be fucking nuts. That'd be so crazy. But I kind of, it's such a leap. I kind of would be here for it.
You just want to see how crazy this is going to be.
Yeah, because that could be really wild, dude.
Oh, no, that would be out of control. That's like Hitchcock and Spider-Man coming together as one.
Yeah, that'd be Hitchcock or Hancock?
Hancock, sorry.
I was like, Hitchcock, Alfred? Okay.
Yeah, that nigga.
While we're talking about superhero stuff, Lady Gaga's recently said that her take on Harley Quinn is going to be radically different than what we usually expect, and even referred to her as Lee. Yes. So, I mean, we kind of figured they're going to do something different. I would not expect. There's probably going to be some influences from Joker stories, but if you think they're going to like hold true to any kind of mythology or stuff you see in the comics, so you can like be the nerd to kind of stun on people after the movie, I think you're misguided. I think they're doing some wild shit with this one.
Mm-hmm.
And also, you got to remember, after the first movie, half of this shit may not even be real.
Yeah.
That's what's so crazy about the first one. You're like, what? You know, you just creeping on Zazie Beats. I'm like, I get it, but also, nigga. Like,
I mean, I get it. I understand.
I've done it too, man. I saw it on the train.
We all do it.
It sounds so bad when you say it like that. Oh, wait, we got one more piece of superhero news. The Boys, amazing Amazon television show, is officially ending with season 5, which, as much as that hurts me to say, I'm so happy they have an end date in mind and set. Because that means Eric Kripke and the cast know exactly what they're doing, and they're going to be able to execute their vision wholeheartedly.
And also that means that the next season is going to go hard.
I mean, I have some screeners of season 4, and I'm already halfway through. It's, if you know anything about the comics, it's getting that dark, folks. Like I think it's important to remember that The Boys is not about heroes.
Yeah. And
people are going to do some really bad things, even people we love. And a lot of people are going to die. Just keep that in mind. Like, I think it's important. Like, I think it's easy to forget, like, you know, like, oh, we're watching people do terrible things. Even though that they're the good guys, quote unquote, they're still murdering people. They're still they're killing people accidentally too. Like it's not going to be great, but it's going to be awesome. Mm-hmm. Have you been watching Gen V? Did you watch Gen V?
No.
The spinoff? Dude, that's awesome.
Really?
The Gen V is actually a really good, worthy spinoff of The Boys, and it's fucking gnarly because one of the characters can control your blood. Yeah, and you should watch Gen V before you watch season 4, if you haven't already. But yeah, like
Where's Gen V playing?
it's on Amazon Prime. It's
Okay,
all the same
sure.
stuff. But yeah, Gen V, dude, like that person who can control blood, you learn that that's probably the most powerful suit. Like even
Hmm.
maybe more than Homelander. If you can fully figure out how to do it, like people are afraid of bloodbenders.
Hmm.
Yeah. Because think about it. If everyone has blood, you can control everybody.
Yeah, you could just suck the blood out of every.
Hey,
Oh
hey,
boy. Yeah, I mean you can really fuck people up.
yeah.
You can be the
Speak,
blood god.
speaking of sucking the blood out of things, Blumhouse is overhauling their Exorcist franchise with by setting Mike Flanagan to direct their new movie. So it sounds like they're going to do a hard reset, and they're bringing on Doctor Sleep director
Yeah.
and Visionary, who's done a lot of the Netflix movies like series like House on Haunted Hill and stuff like that, and the Fall of the House of Usher to do the new Exorcist movie, which I think is an inspired choice. I actually liked the Haunting House one. I didn't see any of the other Netflix series he did, but those have huge followings. People seem to like him a lot, and he
Yeah.
has. I like Doctor Sleep. We reviewed Doctor Sleep, but we
Yes.
like that too. So, he knows how to work with IP. I kind of wish they went in this direction before instead of David Gordon Green. As much as I've enjoyed David Gordon Green's work before,
Mm.
um, but I don't know if does anyone give a fuck about The Exorcist? I'm not trying to be rude. Like it's one of the best horror films of all time, but no one's like been like, I could really use some more of.
Yeah, but if you can get a fresh take on it, a new set of eyes, it could revamp it and bring it back to prominence.
Yeah.
That's why they're doing it. And I also hate this, but I could see why they want to go with a horror, because horror films like those, in a way, those work,
Yeah.
revamping them and doing something different with it. You know what I'm saying? It could,
Yes.
because you're updating them to time, which vastly changes the film.
Mm.
Now, if they do The Exorcist and it's still set in the same time frame, don't want to see it. Don't care.
Mhm.
But if
Yep.
you're bringing it to modern times, like, okay, I could, like, okay.
Yeah. We'll have to wait and see how that pans out, but it is an inspired director choice. Um, there's a possible Mummy reboot or direct sequel uh, coming in development, where Wes Took, who did movies like Midway and The Rescue, I've never heard of these, is attached to pen the script, which would be interesting because it could possibly focus on the early life of the titular monster, Imhotep, or possibly Brendan Fraser's character, Rick O'Connell. I don't know. I'm like,
After Tom Cruise took that swing at it and it was a monumental failure, the question is, why do we want to watch this?
I mean, the classic, the first Brendan Fraser, Rachel Weisz one still holds up. Like, I think there's some properties where you can just kind of leave them alone, and unless you have a really good story that's going to have universal appeal, and you're going to be able to book people that are just charming as those two motherfuckers in 97 or some shit or 99, don't do it. And I honestly don't think, and we're going to talk real quick about the new Hollywood A list. I don't think any of these people on this A list could bring the charm and charisma that Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz brought.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. That's a problem for movies that try to have those kind of impacts.
Yeah.
And that's even with, we saw The Fall Guy. Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt had great chemistry. And that movie still underperformed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's but speaking real quick about this A-list list, Hollywood Reporter put out a few weeks ago that includes such actors like Austin Butler, Timothy Chalamet,
I think
Jacob
weird.
Elordi, Paul Mescal, Jenna Ortega, Glenn Powell, Lawrence Pugh, Sydney Sweeney, Anya Taylor-Joy, and Zendaya. Now, y'all will probably notice that there's only two people of color on there, Zendaya and Jenna Ortega. Jenna Ortega is very white presenting, so I can see a lot of people in Hollywood thinking that she's a white girl. Um, but honestly, even with Zendaya, like if we're talking movies, no one's no one's got blockbuster numbers except for Timothy Chalamet, and I don't think that that's because of him. I think it's just because he got lucky with the IP that he got locked in with.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's me personally. It's possible that people could love the fuck out Timothy Chalamet, but I'm very skeptical of that.
Listen, I think that of those people that were mentioned on that list, I think that Austin Butler, I was just like, yeah, that guy has, and
He can
Glenn
get there.
Powell,
He can for sure get there.
yeah, Glenn Powell, he has like that Hollywood star kind of look and feel
Yes.
to him, but like
We'll
as
have to
far
see how
as
Twisters does.
yeah, true, very true. Um, but like I recently just watched Hitman, and I was just like, man, this guy's like
He's
he
charming.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. He was
like
good in Hitman.
he's hitting on levels. But
Mm.
a lot of the rest guys, I was like, who?
I mean, I know this list, and I
No,
think
so do
that's,
I. But also, I'm like, who?
well, I think the biggest probably moneymaker, honestly, is probably Jenna Ortega on that list because apparently the tracking numbers for Beetlejuice are huge in the young demographic. And it's probably because of Jenna Ortega. Now,
Yeah,
UV, our producer, saying Zendaya in the chat. And yes, Zendaya does have a huge following, but challengers prove that to a limit. I gotta see what else she does as like the main lead in a film that she's carrying on her own to see if she has that box office
box office
draw.
appeal.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, because yeah, I mean, and it makes sense that you have that kind of feeling towards it because look at the things that she did. She did what Dune, well Dune 2 because she really wasn't in Dune 1. Let's be totally honest about
yeah.
that. Spider-Man, it really wasn't her. Like that really took that to where it went. Um, she did that movie with uh Denzel's son.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
Malcolm and Marie. That
yeah,
was
Malcolm
Netflix
Murray.
though. So,
Yeah, so it's like she really doesn't have a big hit. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Euphoria.
but that's TV.
Yeah, and that's TV. It's like, yeah,
That's TV.
she's like,
She's won awards. She's the youngest Emmy winner for Best Actress, and rightfully so. Um, but if we're talking about movie stars, which is what Hollywood's looking for, they're looking for movie stars. It's She has to do something to really prove that. Yubi in the chat also said Anya's starting to get some star power. Anya's doing some good. She's making some interesting choices, but Furiosa bombing doesn't help her. Her
yeah,
being in the Menu style movie didn't do great at the box office. It did modestly at the box office, right?
yeah.
So there's not been all these actors on this list, aside from Timothy Chalamet, honestly, haven't carried a movie that made hundreds of millions of dollars. And like I said, I think Timothy Chalamet just got lucky because he happened to be looped in on some really strong IP.
But again, excuse me. Again, at the same time, a lot of the most of these actors that we're speaking of, their rise to prominence came through and or after the pandemic.
Mm.
So they really haven't had the opportunity to actually get real
Well,
box office numbers the way that
but some of
box
them are kid actors though.
what's that?
Some of them are kid actors, like not Paul Mescal. Austin Butler's a kid actor. I didn't know that he was I think he was a Disney kid. Jenna Ortega as well. She's a kid actor. Zendaya came up on Disney. So
Yeah.
you know what I mean. So a few of these folks have been around for a long time.
Yeah, but these are still breakout roles for them.
Yes.
Regardless of whether they're a kid actor, it's now what they're doing and how far they're moving in their career. So this is they're acting as a kid it's a completely separate career. This is
Mm.
now this is a break. This is their break. This is their breakout because they're still considered new young actors.
Yeah. Yep, folks, call and let us know at speakpipe.com/media popcorn. Let us know what you think of the A list of top Hollywood actors right now. And let us know who you would replace, who you think actually deserves to be on the list. Again, speakpipe.com/media popcorn. Now, to wrap up some of our movie news, Until Dawn, based on the really popular role-playing horror game, is being adapted into a film by Screen Gems and PlayStation Studios, and just announced a slew of unknown actors, which I'm excited about. Because one, that means it's going to be cheap. Then it's cheap on the talent side, and hopefully they'll be able to put that money towards the way it looks, because that's a incredibly creepy, awesome horror game where you make certain choices and the little butterflies, pop up, and that'll determine the trajectory of the rest of your story, which is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It'd be awesome if the movie did that, but You can't do a theatrical experience with like choose your own adventure and shit. So I'm excited about that. And then Kerry Washington, along with Andrew Scott, Josh O'Connor, Kaylee Spaney, and Mila Kunis and Glenn Close have all joined the third installment of the Knives Out series called Wake Up Dead Man. So they'll be joining Daniel Craig, who's now sporting long locks for the new Ryan Johnson murder mystery, which I'm excited about. That's a hell of a cast, man.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. I'm just like I want there to be more deaths. I know it sounds really like dark, but I want to see more bodies hit the floor.
Okay.
Let the bodies go. And last but not least, for movie news, before we jump to some trailer reactions, Sony Pictures has purchased Alamo Drafthouse, the theater chain that inspired passionate following with its creative cocktails, extensive food menu, and strict no talking, no texting policies. A few people have reached out to me on social media, be like, Brandon, what do you think of this news? I'm like, I don't think anything yet because I don't know how much they're going to change.
Yeah.
I just hope they don't monopolize the theater where fucking by December, instead of seeing a bunch of Oscar nominated films, it's just 7 theaters full of Craven the fucking Hunter. Like I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah, they'll have probably exclusive like behind the scenes content for Sony Pictures.
Which would be fine. They have a great filmography. They have a great catalog, but just don't fuck it up and like don't take away the no texting, no talking policy because that would
for sure.
Then I'm canceling my Alamo Drafthouse subscription. I'm just telling you all now. They barely monitor the shit anyway, but it's still better than AMC and having to fight a nigga because he took your seats and won't stop texting his mama.
Yeah.
So at least that's who I think he's texting. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. But folks, we did watch some movie trailers. First of which was Trigger Warning, starring Jessica Alba and comedian Tone Bell, who I'm trying to get on the show because Tone's the homie. Where it's like kind of a revenge thriller that's going to be on Netflix, I believe.
Yes. Actually, very soon.
Yeah, I'm going to watch it because Jessica Alba hasn't done something in a long time. But it did remind me, Jessica Alba, not the best actress. We reviewed some of her movies, and they're not great.
Yeah.
But undeniably, she's one of the most beautiful people to ever grace a film screen.
And I got to say, at first, I did not recognize her.
Yeah, she looks like a mature woman. She looks great.
Yeah, she looked great.
She had them babies, so she got a little bit of filled out. She's not honey skinny no more. Which Tati and I watched some honey dance scenes the other night, and we're just like, why did they do this to this girl? She looked crazy. she do the sways, and she's watching little black kids play basketball. She's like, I got some moves. Like, no, you don't.
Hey, my name is Honey. Stop.
It did remind me though, real quick. We have to start doing the step up movies, Justin. I know it's gonna be painful for you. It's gonna be painful for me too, but we have to start doing them because the comedy that will come from our takes on these insane dance movies,
okay, Brandon,
cannot be denied to the listener.
If we're gonna do the step up movies, I feel like it's only right that we should also do complimentary YouTube or Instagram videos of us trying some of the dance.
Oh yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that right now. I don't know how we'll be able to do the Shannon Tatum bouncing on trampoline scene or like dancing in the fucking rain for some reason because we're taking it to the streets. Which when we do step up to the streets, I have a lot of issues with that movie, but continuity is a big one because niggas be changing outfits halfway through dance scenes. They go back and forth. It's insane. Anyways, Beetlejuice is coming out, and a new trailer dropped recently, giving us a little bit more of the story. Where Jenna Ortega is clearly playing Winona Ryder's daughter in it. And I'm hoping that there's a story worth telling. I don't think everyone would come back if it wasn't. It's not like maybe Michael Keaton does need the money, but I imagine between him and Tim Burton, they're good to go for the rest of their lives. So hopefully they're like, yo, we finally cracked it. Because they've been trying to do a sequel to Beetlejuice for a long time. I remember Kevin Smith did a story about they were trying to do Beetlejuice in Hawaii or some shit. Like, that's how desperate they were trying to do a Beetlejuice sequel.
It's like, listen, we just not filming in Hawaii. You in?
You kind of was like, they were going to offer me a trip to Hawaii. But What do you think? What did you think of the Beetlejuice
I
sequel?
mean, listen, like I haven't seen Beetlejuice in a long time, but I
Well,
remember
it
it
still
as a
holds up, man.
yeah, I remember it as a kid. It was like, oh, it was a really fun, movie. It's also kind of creepy at the
It's
same
so
time.
fucking crazy.
I just wonder, like, what's the story? How's this thing transferring it? But at the same time, as I say that, I'm just like, they kind of did allude to what the story is in this trailer. I'm just like, sometimes when you already kind of have an idea of what's going on in the trailer, I don't know, is that a good sign?
Mm, is that a good sign?
Mm.
Only the Lord will tell,
Well,
or the
yeah,
time will tell.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Not the Lord.
Also, only time will tell if Moana 2 is worth the squeeze from taking it from direct to video to theatrical because this trailer made it look like a direct to video movie.
Yeah, I don't get the need.
I don't. It seemed like a retread of the first movie. Like it was like a lot of the same kind of shots. The only difference is they brought the pig this time.
Yeah,
I was like, okay. I'm just
it's
like,
like
this feels like a money grab, Disney.
yes,
This
yes.
one feels like a money grab. So you better
Mm-hmm.
bring the thunder. You know what I
Thunder.
mean?
Oh, couldn't help myself.
Uh, I don't know. Okay, let's start wrapping this up. So there's a new trailer for Alien Romulus, which is being directed by the director of Don't Speak, um, and also the most recent Evil Dead movie. And it
Yeah,
looks pretty fucking gnarly, man.
yeah.
Looks some
Looks pretty dope.
badass shit.
It like Aliens, just one of those properties that it comes back and you're just like, okay.
And
Like
it,
I
it
watch.
feels, yeah, and it feels like someone that cares. It feels like someone that's like not trying to just do a money grab. It feels like they use real animatronics, which I believe the director confirmed.
Yeah,
Um, Xenomorph aside, it looks like a cool vibe. Like that, I'll kind of be on the edge of my seat the whole time. Like, when's this nigga gonna pop out? Because that's what made the first two so great. Is that these motherfuckers were hiding.
yeah.
You didn't know when they were gonna pop up, and they were just like the spit or something like that would burn you, or like, you know,
What's crazy is like you hear like that kind of cracking sound and
oh,
that
when the thing was bursting through that chest,
yeah,
dude,
that
that
was
was
nuts.
rough.
I
When they had
was
the light on the chest, I was like,
no,
yo,
yeah. Oh no,
yeah. So,
it's over. It's
yep.
over.
Oh yeah, once you get that first jolt, it's you
Mm-hmm.
may as well, say goodbyes and
Bye bye.
last will and testament, baby. Speaking of saying your goodbyes, Maxine just dropped her final trailer, which is the conclusion of the Ty West horror trilogy starring Mia Goth, who I don't know why, but she's like a dirty, crazy white girl that like I just went to hook up with in Michigan, and I can't. It's weird, man.
Handshake, huh?
But this cast is fucking stacked, man. I forgot that Kevin
Yeah,
Bacon was in it. I was like,
yeah. Giancarlo Esposito's in it.
yeah,
So,
and Bobby Cannavale, you got a bunch of
mm-hmm.
people in this movie, and I'm
Yeah,
like, okay, well, they had to tell some kind of story to get this kind of a cast, and it's like a late, like early
yeah.
'80s
Early '80s kind of.
throwback, like on the West, and they filmed it at the Universal lot because I
I,
recognize a lot of the spots and stuff.
are they doing like a Son of Sam type thing with
It
this?
seems like a Son of Sam slash like a like tribute to slasher movies.
No, no, no. It's I forgot. There's another killer name.
Zodiac Killer.
Zodiac Killer. Yeah, there you go.
Maybe. I think we'll have to wait and see what the motivation is,
Or it could
but
just be a mix, a mashup or something
yeah,
like that.
because it seems like Kevin Bacon's character is a private investigator,
Yeah,
and he's probably connected with the family from X Triple X,
yeah,
with the farm and shit, where all that stuff went down because they showed the video, everything like that. So we'll have to wait and see.
yeah. It'd be
Wait and
interesting.
see. Yeah, but Venom 3 just released their trailer for The Last Dance, the full trailer, and I'm less excited now. I wasn't even excited, but now I'm like less interested. And you got the Venom symbiote dancing with the Asian woman that owns the store. You got Chuto Ejiofor randomly popping up in this motherfucker trying to hunt down Venom. You got Venom using symbiote to create a symbiote horse thing.
Yeah.
And then you have them retrieving the symbiote that they left behind in the MCU world, which I'm like, wait, y'all
So
just
where
gonna.
is this? Yeah, it's like where is this? But then you also have what's it? Dr. Connors is in this film.
Yeah, supposedly he's playing a different character though.
It's like, guys, I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Well, if he is Dr. Connors, then that means this is Andrew Garfield's world.
Yeah, but he has his arms. He has both of his arms. So does that mean that he's healed?
Yeah, remember this could be Dr. Connors coming back after No Way Home and
Exactly.
reformed. So that then it's like that never happened. So then, but if he never became the Lizard, or if he like, that's what's so tricky about going back to those worlds and see how that shit recons. Because
Yeah.
remember, Holland didn't have any of his villains as part of that whole thing, right?
Yeah.
So we never had to really go back and see like how did the Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin, like how would that work out? Does that mean that James Franco's still alive and shit like that? You don't have to explore that because you don't need to go back to that shit.
Yeah.
Just let the fans speculate, right? But now if you're trying to actually do this, Sony, you're digging yourself a hole. You're digging yourself a deeper hole than you already had.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I can see them doing it. I can see them being like, "Who's going to track us? We about to own the Alamo Drafthouse, baby."
Rule, baby. So what?
Yeah. So that's we'll wrap this up. Let's wrap this up. We can save some of the other stuff for later, folks. So again, let us know if you're enjoying these movie news and trailer reaction episodes. Shoot us a tweet at Medium P Podcast on social media. As always, you can follow me at Frodo_Blackens. And Justin, how can people follow you as well as support the show financially if they choose to do so, my brother?
Guys, you can follow me at J Brown Did It on all the socials. But you can support this show at patreon.com/medium popcorn. We have $2, $5, $10, and $15 packages. Our entire backlog is on Patreon. We've got bonus episodes. We got mini shows. Guys, Patreon is where it's at. Again, find us on Patreon, patreon.com/medium popcorn.
That's right. Come on, support the show. And the money's tight. Just leave a 5-star review on your favorite podcast application. We will read it on the show. But yeah, patreon.com/medium popcorn. Get involved with the Discord, comment, add some stuff. Like give us suggestions, all these kind of things that can help the show grow and just get better for you, more butter in your ear. Okay. And also you can leave us a voicemail again at speakpipe.com/mini popcorn. The link is in the show notes. And until then, folks, talk to y'all soon.
Peace.
More specifically in 7 days.